Anyway, back when the world was one giant landmass, there was this giant magical lake created by the Titans. That is, until it was encroached upon by the pointy-eared, tree-dwelling nocturnal mammals known as the Kaldorei. So they'll guess correctly, that a goddess of the moon named Elune lives under the lake. So they set out to discover the world. They meet dragons, who don't seem to be causing much trouble. And they also meet Cenarius, who kinda looks like a deer crossed with a person. Let the slash fanfics begin. Anyway, Cenarius teaches the Night Elves to be druids, and to use the power of nature and hug trees and such. But the magical properties of the lake are what really interests Ashara, the leader of the Night Elves. She sets her favorite people, the Quel'Thelas, or highborn elves, to study the lake and start messing with it, to make it do stuff. This draws the attention of Malfurion the Pesky, or Malfurion Stormrage for those who like real names. It also draws the attention of Sargeras, the World Destroyer, who apparently has been busy for the past 1,000 years or so. A long time before then, Sargeras had found a peaceful,
or evil,
depending on your source, planet called Argus. He met with the 3 leaders of Argus, named Valand, Archimonde, and Kil'jaeden.
Of Argus, you must know who I am. I am the great Sargeras. I've given power to my friends that you cannot concede. They graced 2 whole planets, killing them all before I leave. And now I offer you this deal if you would just agree to help me unmake everything and lead my army. The Burning Legion calls your name, and I am asking you, join my forces, or I'll be forced to do the same to you. When the Legion comes to town, you had better not say no. I bring a force of destruction that you cannot believe. This is the final test, and there's no question left to go. Will you follow me, or will you turn and flee? I am Sargeras, the Titan, the destroyer of worlds. I lead an army of demons, and soon you will learn. By the Nephrisim, the Tomb Guards, and the Lords, when the Legion finds your world, it will burn. Queen Ashara, ruler of the Highborn, I can make you great and powerful if you'll call me your lord. I need a portal to your world so that my armies may come through. You'll have access to my knowledge, and I'll be there with you. So if you'll tap into the well and make it churn with energy, I will grant you the magics that bring you closer to me. We'll be together, you and I'll destroy the universe. But we can't begin unless you summon me first. When the Legion comes to town, you had better not say no. I bring a force of destruction that you cannot believe. This is the final test, and there's one question left to go. Will you follow me, or will you turn and flee? I am Sargeras, the Titan, the destroyer of worlds. I lead an army of demons, and soon you will learn. By the Nephrisim, the Tomb Guards, and the Lords, when the Legion finds your world, it will burn.
The prophet Valand, who escaped Sargeras, was pursued by Kil'jaeden and Archimonde. With the help of Ka'ur, Valand took a bunch of fellow Eridar and escaped aboard a generation ship called Oshugun and flew across the galaxy. Aboard the ship, Ka'ur, a Nehru, or being of light, taught the Eridar to wield the light in exchange for giving up fel and warlock powers forever. Anyway, back on Azeroth, Malfurion tries to convince his brother Illidan to give up magic and help him stop Ashara. But he refuses until he's asked by a priestess named Tyrande, who is fairly attractive despite being a night elf. Because Illidan has a crush on Tyrande, even though she's with Malfurion, and there's this whole sexual tension triangle thing going on. Look, I guess what I'm trying to say is it's kind of like Twilight. The three go off to see Cenarius, and Cenarius convinces the demigods to battle against the invading demon army. Now, remember how I said that Cenarius looked like a deer crossed with a person? Well, that's because he's a deer crossed with a person. You see, Cenarius' father is Malorn, a stag who leads the ancients in various things they do that requires a leader. And he hooked up with Elune, the moon goddess who lives under a lake and has a thing for guys with horns, hooves, and the general shape of woodland creatures. In other words, furries. Anyway, the other demigods are Agamagan, the patron god of Quel'Thela, Aviana, the bird lady, Ursol and Ursoc, a pair of bears whose offspring are the furbolgs, Goldrin, the white wolf, Omen, the two-headed white wolf, and Tortola the turtle. So they all join the fight against Ashara and the demons pouring through the portal. And Goldrin, Agamagan, Aviana, Ursoc, and Ursol all die. Omen is also killed, but is subsequently raised up every Elder's Week and has to be beaten back down again. Tortola, though, killed so many demons that he was covered in demon bodies. After the fight, he crawled out of the pile and asked if we'd won. This left Malorn and Cenarius in the fight.
So, Archimonde knocks out and is about to kill Cenarius. Before he can, Malorn jumps in the way. Jared Shadowsong, who we all pretend is significant, jumps in and rescues Cenarius, but Archimonde finally grabs a hold of Malorn and kills him. Ysera, in one of the few times she ever did it, opened her eyes. So, Cenarius calls on Alexstrasza, who's a giant dragon, and she rallies the red dragonflight. Cenarius, on the other hand, rallies the slow-moving trees to fight. Point Alexstrasza. So Neltharion, the Earth Warder, gets the idea to make a talisman object called the Dragon Soul, and he gets his buddy Malygos to help convince all the other dragons to put a little bit of their power into it. This, for some reason, is viewed as a good idea. But Neltharion doesn't put in his own, so he takes the Dragon Soul into battle, and in one attack kills thousands of demons, thousands of night elves, but no one likes them anyway, and some dragons. So the other dragon aspects move in to stop him, but are all knocked away effortlessly. Neltharion is ripped open by all the power he just used, because using this object is too much for a dragon aspect to handle. I mean, it's not like any small fleshy creatures will ever try to use it, right? Well, so anyway, Neltharion is ripped apart, and though he still lives, he is renamed Deathwing, presumably because he caused death and has wings. Malygos, who helped Neltharion, feels guilty and goes 50 shades of insane.
So Malfurion steals the Demon Soul, because it's now called the Demon Soul. Not important how, just that he did. Anyway, Illidan steals it from Malfurion and takes it to Ashara in exchange for more magic. He also warns her that Malfurion is planning an attack. The Demon Soul is used to strengthen the portal, because it does that apparently. Sargeras is so thankful that, despite being too big to fit through the portal, he does reach through and dig out Illidan's eyes, replacing them with magic jewels that help him see magic. Also covering him in arcane tattoos, though we're not 100% on what that means or what they do. So, Malfurion, Tyrande, and a bunch of other Night Elves attack. Tyrande is hurt, and Malfurion goes into a rage and does a whole bunch of stuff. Illidan, sensing a major plot device, grabs 7 vials and fills them with water from the Well of Eternity. This will conveniently allow the Well of Eternity to continue to exist, even after, seconds later, it explodes, thanks to the tampering by Malfurion and the other Night Elves. So Night Elves interfere, and the world explodes. And that's the lesson we teach our children. This is what's known as the Sundering. It sends land into 3 directions, or 4 when Mists of Pandaria comes out, and that causes the center of the world to churn in a thing called the Maelstrom. When the portal collapses, Archimonde and Manaroth, who are leading the demon army, get sucked back through the portal, and Ashara, along with a bunch of the highborn elves, are sucked into the Maelstrom and are turned into Naga.
Now, the remaining Night Elves and Highborn swim to the shores of Mount Hyjal, located nowhere near water, and they find a lake which will be a good source of water. Well, unless Illidan decides to throw 3 of the vials into the lake and turn it into a second Well of Eternity. So if you're ever wondering who's to blame for the whole Hyjal fiasco, I'd start with the Night Elves. This move is rewarded by Illidan being imprisoned for the next 10,000 years. So the dragons decide to start earning their wages as the world's guardians and do something about the lake. Do they destroy it or drink it? No. They plant a tree on it, called Nordrassil. This tree is supposed to do something to protect the lake, even though the lake is both visible and approachable from underneath the tree. Now Nosdormu blesses the tree, that as long as it's protected and they don't injure it, the Night Elves would live forever. They like this idea. Ysera blesses the tree, linking it to the Emerald Dream, though no one's really sure what that means. In exchange for this blessing, she asks that druids spend a portion of their lives, which is now eternal, wandering and protecting the Emerald Dream. Since the Titans went to the trouble of making it, someone ought to go there and look at it. Well, anyway, years go by and Cenarius has a son named Zater. And Therazane has a daughter named Theradris, who is as nice as she is pretty. So Zater and Theradris get together and give birth to the entire Centaur race, a move that even the Centaur find so abhorrent that they kill Zater. Theradris then takes his body into Moradon and develops a rather unpleasant disposition.
So Dathramar leads the remaining Highborn Elves and is not very happy about Malfurion's ban on arcane magics. So Dathramar and the other Highborn Elves cast a giant spell to show their defiance. The Night Elves then get together to punish them all. And by punish, we mean pack them into boats and send them as far away from Night Elves as they could. To Lordaeron, where they grew paler and shorter and developed a better fashion sense. Kind of like Michael Jackson. So now that most of the crises were averted, a bunch of the druids got ready to enter the Emerald Dream. Malfurion was going to go too, but Tyrande tried to talk him out of it. However, Malfurion really didn't want to get tied down to one lady now that he was going to be in his prime for at least the next 1,000 years or so. So he enters the Emerald Dream to avoid actually breaking up with her. Tyrande then becomes the ruler of the Night Elves, but Cenarius warns her that the threat of demons still loomed over them. So the Amani Trolls are the big bad over in Lordaeron. The humans are still a bunch of wandering tribes, so the Amani can just dominate them. But then along comes the Highborn Elves, and they, despite not needing a reason to attack, are corrupted by the old gods, which makes them crazy. And they attack and chase off the Amani Trolls. So they find this sacred place to the Amani Trolls and decide that it's prime real estate to build a city, which they call Quel'Thelas, which slightly pisses off the Amani Trolls.